when you have the songs kind of stacked up against each other, I mean, they're almost exact. All right, so Dua Lipa's lawyer has moved for the Levitating copyright infringement lawsuit to be dismissed. Okay, so basically you file with the court and you say, court, this lawsuit is nonsense. You should not consider it any further. Here are all the reasons why. And then sometimes we are able to get these lawsuits dismissed, and so we don't have to actually go further and answer and that kind of thing. So it's been filed. Let me give you the basis. So Dua Lipa's lawyers, they made their opening statements in the copyright infringement claim brought against the singer, saying that she has no prior exposure to the two songs that this lawsuit is about. Okay, so that's a big thing when it comes to copyright, right? So if you can prove you had no exposure, or it's unlikely you ever heard a song or multiple songs, then it's hard to say, well, if you didn't hear it, right, you can't steal it.
But then
or
right
that's
there,
the argument.
But that doesn't matter, because unless she's the sole songwriter that went into her room and did it, there's probably multiple writers. So it's not just if she's heard it, it's if her producers and other songwriters heard it.
That's right. And that's where this gets a little bit tricky, because here's the other thing too, right? So if you have the attorney who is defending Dua Lipa, right, you have all the other people who had been named on the lawsuit, which is going to be the record label, the publishing company, it's going to be the other songwriters. And one of the other songwriters may have heard this song, may have even meant to rip it off. And that's in every single one of these situations. You never know, but obviously you got to go to bat and to, try to survive the complaint. So what I thought would be interesting is let's actually listen to this. Now, the first thing we're going to do before we get to the two songs that this particular lawsuit is covering, we're actually going to, there's a third one. There's a lot of lawsuits happening, okay?
She gets a lot of trouble
over this song. But the first one for me is super interesting. So let's watch this video. Let me share this and you guys can get a little taste of where the comparison is coming in. All right, so here we go. This is the course. Okay. So in this video, they have actually matched up both songs simultaneously. Okay. So when you hear them playing together at the same time, at the same tempo, this is where you're trying to listen for their substantial similarities or substantial differences, okay? And then they're gonna solo out Dua Lipa. Okay. First of all, as far as the general feeling that you get, obviously there's a very similar vibe, but when you have the songs kind of stacked up against each other, I mean, they're almost exact, and I think that's where this gets a little bit tricky. Now, this is only one of the lawsuits that have been filed in regards to the song, and quite frankly, I think that this one is likely to settle, because as I'm listening to it, they sound a lot alike.
They definitely have the same vibe. They definitely have the same. I mean, I don't know if there's any tempo slowing or any kind of, just to make their point a little bit more from the original to the current. But yeah, no, I mean, it's hard to say they don't sound the same. I mean, as soon as you played it, I mean, I was hearing it. It's very much blurred lines. Got to give it up.
That's right. Another very famous lawsuit. All right, so now let's move on, right? So we have this other lawsuit that we're talking about, okay? And then in relation to one of the songs as part of this lawsuit,
but I have no doubt
another comparison.
But not no doubt, but I mean, I definitely feel it's probable that, Dua Lipa did not hear that song. Like, so for her to say, I haven't heard that, I mean, that song came out, when did that come out?
2017.
Yeah, so, I mean, no, the Don Diablo did?
No. So the first one we had just listened to that we compared to, now we're moving on, the Don Diablo is the next one. Okay, so in fact, let's listen to that.
Yikes.
Okay, so in that again, but what is that? Right, it's a syncopation of words.
That one's a little tougher. That's a
Right?
little tougher. That's a little tougher. See, and the thing that I feel with these problems with some of these songs, and when producers are kind of defending it, is the first one. Even though it's pretty matched up, it's still pretty. It's not like it's like a super complicated melody. It's not. It's like it's a super complicated drum beat. It's a kind of a standard vibe kind of thing, and so I can see like tempos, drum beats, think of like every house song that you've heard, where it just has the four on the floor and just like, you know what I mean? There's only so many notes. So I can definitely see when you're trying to capture a vibe, you might lock up with something without hearing it. But that being said, though, both of those, you definitely hear it. There's no question you hear it. So
Okay, so in the second lawsuit, there's actually two songs. So the Don Diablo was the first song that
yeah,
we're talking about. Now the second one is called "Wiggle and Giggle All Night."
I was walking down the street when I saw the handsome soldier boy winkle, winkle, winking at me. He said, I'd like to make.
Okay, so
that
again,
that one I can hear more of it being than the other one, and I'll tell you why. Because that is like, so you think of like bossa nova music, you know what I mean? Like I've heard the Girl from Ipanema melody in a lot of songs, and I've heard it even recently on something, the da, 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 da. Like there's a lot of
right.
kind of commonly kind of melodies that are kind of used, that are taken from those kind of songs. So that one I can kind of maybe see more of, where they were trying to go for like, also taking a kind of like a vibe. I can hear it now. Whether she heard it or not, which is the argument what they're trying to hold on, that's fine. I don't know if any of the other however many songwriters though, they probably
Right.
heard it.
So let's see. There are in this lawsuit, yeah, there's a couple of songwriters, and basically the attorney is alleging that while there are similarities, that those similarities are unprotectable and the results are coincidental and
It's
just the
vibe.
basic building blocks of music.
Yeah.
Now, this attorney for the Levitating case was the same one who was able to get Katy Perry's E.T. reversed on appeal because she ended up making a similar type of argument and saying when you have something that is so simple and it's kind of like the building blocks of music and everyone's using it's the same three notes, it's the same five notes, it's very
Was that
common.
ET?
Et
Was that what?
I'm sorry, Dark Horse, not Et.
Dark
Dark
Horse?
Horse.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but in any case, so she's making kind of a similar jump here, and she's gone so far as to say also we've never heard these songs. Now, these
No.
weren't unpopular songs, though, and that plays into this as well.
No, no, for sure. Um, and no, and like you were saying, like that Katy Perry case, that was real trouble with that Dark Horse case. So, I mean, it's a good idea that Dua Lipa got the heavy hitter for this one. Um, and I think that I kind of agree. Like while I definitely hear it, and I think that there's going to have to be some like payouts and stuff like that. And I do, it's possible those songwriters have heard it. I kind of might believe Dua Lipa as far as her or not, but I also get the whole like it's a vibe that it's, you know what I mean? Like while with the Blurred Lines case, when I heard that, I'm like, man, you went right in there and it was like, I need that Marvin Gaye, got to get it up, got to give it up, but I need it, I need it with a little
Well, that's even
ting
an
instead of
example.
ding.
That's even an example because, DaBaby also was named on one of the lawsuits that we're talking about because he participated in
Right.
a remix that was then released. And so when you have associated talent on it, even if they didn't really write that much or really were involved, they still get sued and they might even be liable. So he had to pay out
Did,
a couple $1 million too.
did Ti get named in that, or did they
Yeah.
let Ti off of that? Like, yeah, oh.
So in any case, we're very interested in these lawsuits and we'll continue to follow them.
Great song.
And
All versions are great
yeah,
songs.
all great songs. That is what we think.